Hello again and welcome to another Morning and Glory Old World video. And today, me and Simon are doing some deep thoughts, some after action reports after our second game of Old World. Well, it's Simon's second game. It is in fact my third game. I played two and I essentially GM'd a third game between two other new players. So we are veterans, Simon. At this point, we are the most qualified people ever in the history of the universe. No, we're clearly still...
Very worried.
It's a bold statement, that one. No, we're still very new. But we thought, considering that every time we play this game at the moment, we're learning so much more about it. Rather than extending the battle report, and these final thoughts will be based on the game that we played. So if you haven't seen that battle report, I highly recommend that you check it out. It fully paid armies now, and dare I say, at least 50% of the rules got right. I haven't checked that yet, but I'm going out on a limb there, making a bold statement. But yeah, I just thought we'd do a big sort of thought video on this because there's so much to unpack. Because we've tried lots of new stuff, and it was almost completely different to our last game. The last game we did was Bretonnians versus Gobbos, and we didn't really have that much special stuff on either side. It was like knights and goblins, and there wasn't like much fanatics and magic or anything like that. This time was completely different. I would say that there was a lot more wacky shit going around the table, and it made for a much more flavorful game. The last game was flavorful just because it was novel. It was the first time we were doing it. This time I think we've definitely jumped up a notch in learning what our units can bring and what they can do. So Simon, what I wanted to ask you first is, what was it like playing the goblins? Last time you played against them, this time you played with them. What did you like? What did you didn't like? What worked, what didn't work?
I think it's the same thing. It's the randomness of them.
Very random.
Yeah.
You did, well, when you turned up, you did say, boing. And I was like, you're taking all the squigs, aren't you? It was like, boing.
I love the squig riders.
I was really impressed by them. They're relatively affordable. They're 10 points a model.
Yeah. I'll probably take some more.
Maybe 12 points, but they're not too much.
I mean, you've got... I was just thinking about that with the at the end there with the cannon and the squigs playing hide and seek. I was, not giving you something you could kill, but I was also giving myself a 12-inch charge every time by being round the corner, or a 13-inch charge.
Yeah.
So it's a two-edged sword, and I rolled terribly with my random movement all game.
You had the only one that did well was the Mangler squig, and it got shot in the face.
It didn't. I mean, that only went 13.
It went a 10 and a 12, so it was average.
Average.
Yeah.
So there was no, there was no.
But you never rolled a 3.
No, that's true. Well, most of them were under 10.
Yeah.
So that would have been, that level of randomness is pretty.
I think when we're looking at it and we're like 3d6, and we think, oh, that could be 18 inches. But you know what's guaranteed 18 inches?
Yeah.
Wolf Riders.
Yeah.
Because they...
In all fairness, they don't hit as hard as a Mangler squig, I would hazard a guess.
The Mangler squigs, obviously the squigs are very chompy, but I can put the same cavalry spears on the wolves.
Yeah.
So, yes, your squigs definitely... The squigs themselves are very threatening.
Yeah.
But you can get some half-decent spear attacks out of them. And don't forget, you can put a goblin boss on a wolf.
Yeah, well, you can put them on a giant cave squig as well.
Then can he boing as well?
They're 3d6.
More boing? Oh, but he can't join because the loner.
He's a loner. So, but it could be quite good fun.
So you enjoyed the squig riders?
Yeah, they were good fun. I'd like to see what the Mangler squid did.
I apologise, but I cannoned it in the face.
I think the units, it's difficult. I'm like, half me thinking, do I put the shaman in, or the shaman, whatever he's called, in with the unit with the character, just to make him
everyone in one place.
Yeah, but then if you lose that unit,
you lose a lot.
Yeah, and that's goblins aren't exactly.
It's the leadership.
Yeah.
Even if you only need to lose combat by. You only need to lose combat. It can be any amount. It's like, oh, well, I'm leadership 6. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Even unmodified.
5. Because if you've lost it by at least 1. So at best, you're going to be...
Yeah.
So
You put more often than not, if you lose a combat, you flee.
Yeah. Which is a bit worrying.
I would say, and we sort of noticed this during the game, the units themselves, your basic infantry, and this was for both sides, don't do a lot of damage.
No, especially with spears.
But when you have them led by a hero, it goes up.
Yeah.
The heroes kill more than the units themselves. The big difference that I found, and the one exception, and I think sort of it showed the quality of spears, was when you charged my spears.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of attacks back.
Yeah.
That was... So I feel like spears are genuinely good on the defensive. Like, and when I saw that, I was like, I don't really want to charge you.
Yeah.
I don't want to charge you because you'll just net me and then spear me and then I'll die.
Yeah.
What do you think about the netters? There was a couple of times you've netted yourself.
Well, 50% of the time I netted myself.
Such is the Gobbo way. It's so Gobbo, that, though. But bringing it down so I was only wounding goblins on 5s?
Yeah, that is very good, and I did get very unlucky with that. And I think now, if I was doing it again, I would have played that unit slightly differently, and also the Mangler Squig. I thought the Mangler Squig was going to be a bit tankier than it actually was.
Great cannons are the most powerful artillery in the game. Regular cannons are only strength 8, so if only... Oh, it's all when you're on 2s.
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep thinking 40k when you're on 3s, but no, it's all when you're on 2s.
And actually, I was kind of boxed in because otherwise I kind of would have just started wailing on that unit. So I've perhaps done that slightly differently. But I think those cannons are really good.
Do you want to talk about the cannons for a second?
No.
Go on. So, from my perspective on the cannons, I felt like they were okay. And that was from the player using them. They consistently killed, when they were shooting goblins, they only killed like 3 or 4 a turn between them. And I didn't get any misfires.
Yeah.
What I actually found was when I shot your Mangler Squig and I hit, there was like, oh, I could one-shot this.
Yeah.
I've got a 33% chance of one-shotting your Mangler Squig.
Yeah.
Which is huge. As it was, I only did 2 wounds to it in the first go. But then it was when you got close with the Squig Herd, which is an infantry unit, so it's only moving like 4 inches a turn, or 10 or 8 on the march. It was like, oh, well, you move into 12-inch grape shot range. You're not going to reliably get a charge on me the next turn anyway, and I'll just grape shot you. Just,
and I think
cannons, grape shot against infantry, very powerful.
That dual profile is pretty damn good, to be fair.
And it auto hits.
Yeah, I think that's massive. So again, if you're playing, say, Bretonians, and you're not gonna be able to charge them head on with if you've got a unit of 6 Grail Knights.
I wonder if you can stand and shoot with them. I don't know what the minimum range for stand and shoot is. You might not be able to do it if it's within 6 inches.
I don't know. That's something we need.
We need to check that. But presuming for the time being, and obviously someone in chat someone in the comments can let us know what the minimum range for grape shot is. Presuming for a moment that a unit of knights that are charging you from within 12 inches, and you could grape shot them, that would be devastating.
Yeah, exactly. No, that'd be interesting. Tell you what, I'll have a look while we're talking.
Shall we have a little look while I was talking? So yeah, while Simon is checking the big book, and kind of say we both said this, it's well written. Some people think it's a bit of a weighty tome. It is, but I find it's a little bit like the bolt action rulebook, where it can be sometimes a little tricky to find stuff, but when you find it, the answer is crystal clear. We were like, oh, does random movement let you move in random direct, let you move where you want, or does it count as a charge? Oh, we found it. Oh, does a reform use all of your movement, or just some of it, depending on how much you reform? Uses all of it. Yeah, it's really, it gives you like little examples throughout, and they really do help clear up a lot of the possible scenarios. But yeah, my thoughts of the cannons were they were again very good versus single targets, but I felt they really struggled versus big blocks. I kept like overshooting, and I was pretty conservative with where I was placing the cannonballs, but often they were shooting over the top or only rolling through the first couple of ranks.
Yeah, you got lucky that hit on the
just managed to get it on the Mangler Squig.
Yeah, but then you hit the big block and you're only squished one, whereas actually that one was a bit unlucky because you bounced into the middle and then didn't go any further.
Didn't go any further. Yeah, that is true. I could have killed, but then Simon, even if I just bounced, I would have only killed 3.
Yeah, true.
3 fucking gobbos for a cannonball. But then again, that's the nature of goblins. They're very cheap. That might have been 3 goblins, or it could have been a 3 Bretonnian knights.
But then on this, if when I was facing that way, if you'd have shot through there, you would have been going through 8 ranks.
And I almost, that's what I was planning. I'm not gonna lie, I was lining that up.
I can't actually see anything that says that you can't. So
it'll be under the standard shoot, which will be under the special rules. They're somewhat in the middle of the book, but I'll tell you what.
Just going back to the rule book, anyone who's played 30k will really appreciate this book because
it's much better, much easier to find stuff.
That is the worst set of rules.
Worst layout.
Honestly, anyone will tell you. It's like, quick special rule. It could be in one of 3 places.
Nightmare.
There's no rhyme or reason to where it is.
Just where they remembered to put it at the time.
Yeah, I don't know if it's sacrificed a chicken.
Just let the chicken run around. Magic, Sam. I wanted to get your thoughts on magic. Not very impactful for the goblins again.
No, it's crap.
I've had 3 games involving goblins, and every single time it's not done a huge amount. But let me tell you, demonology, good.
Yeah, that
good. Vortex, bit of a waste of time. Yeah. Summoning, just taste my lightning, fucker! Just like shooting light. 100%. I am now, when it comes to magic, I am now all about that spellcaster. I'm all about the warlock, the offensive sorcerer. I'm all about, I'm going to take a battle magic one. I'm looking for fireball. I'm going to go for, but it's because demonology, the signature spell is a magic missile. That's what makes it so good, because you're like, if in doubt, I'll just pick the one that does damage.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the signature spell for battle magic is like Hammer Hand, which is like poke someone in the eye and the head explodes, which is cool, but my mage does not want to be in combat.
So just going back to...
We're back to stand and shoot. We're tagging back in.
Is armed with missile weapons and can draw a line of sight to the charging unit, it may declare that it will attempt to stand and shoot.
There must be a minimum distance.
Measure the distance between the 2 units. If the distance is less than the movement characteristics of the charging unit, the charging unit is able to raise weapons in time. If the distance is less... right. So if the distance is less than the movement characteristic of the charging unit, then the charging...
So if the Bretonnian Knights were within 8 inches, no stand and shoot. Yeah. If the Bretonnian Knights are over 8 inches, they're getting grape shot to the face.
Yes.
Whoa! Baby!
Just to go back to how easy that was to actually find, it was literally charge reaction.
I love it.
I went to charging, then there's a section for charge reaction, and
then
stand and shoot.
That's nice and well laid out.
Yes.
There you go.
There you go. Actually, for next time you can try and figure out the 30k rule book and then...
I'm okay.
No. Go on, you've had it on your stairs for God knows how long. You need to crack it open and read
My 30k rulebook stops my cats from going through the banisters and onto the other banister. And it's done a great job of that for many years. I'm not having my cats please sugar glider off the stairs down the side. Going back to the game a second. So cannons, you found the grape shot somewhat intimidating, would you say?
Yeah, very much so. Especially after it's just
obliterated. Yeah.
I mean, I was very, just thought I'm going to run into it and see what happens.
Yeah, try it out.
Yeah.
And now we know it fucks you up.
It will mess you up for your day. And I can certainly imagine if someone's trying to. Is a rule of 3 in yet? Is it?
So the rule of 3 has been brought in for tournament play, and it's basically been adopted. Not for everyone. Obviously, you can play whatever you want for mates, but I think it's probably a good balancing factor that we will take into account. Rule of 3, not including core.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly remember from back when I used to play 2nd edition fantasy that cannons were always more reliable than catapults.
They still are.
So anyway, that's that. Magic.
Bolt throwers. I comparing the cannon to the bolt thrower last time. The cannon was just infinitely better. Bolt thrower last time didn't do anything.
Yeah, but then also you weren't firing, because the bolt throwers can go through different ranks. You were firing it at nights, weren't you? So there weren't that many ranks to go through.
No, I just missed.
Oh, well,
because you don't roll to hit with the cannon.
Yeah.
It just picks a spot and then you pray you don't misfire.
Yeah.
And off you go.
Yeah.
Couple of things I wanted to ask you. How did you find when you used the goblins? Because now you've been on the receiving end of it and you've used it. What are your thoughts on the battle axe of the last war?
It's very damn good.
Damn good, yes. So...
Oh, yeah. That's very, very good. How many points is that?
75.
Yeah.
Do you want to know how much my sword of battle is?
What?
60.
Really?
And that all that gives me is +1 attack, +1 strength.
Yeah, no. I mean, but again, you roll 6 the first time you use it, and
When you got that 5 though, it swept down a rank and a half of spearmen without even trying.
it makes a goblin very, very killy.
And considering the goblin itself is very cheap,
Yeah.
you stack it's like 50 points for a war boss or something crazy. You stack a magic item on him like that, and you turn him from just a non-entity to insanely powerful. Yeah, and I think I have to say, looking at the Empire magical items and then comparing them to other factions' magical items, I have to feel like the Empire have got the short end of the stick on that one. We don't have a lot of great stuff. I'm not impressed by the Runefang. All the Runefang does is make sure you wound anything on 2s. And it's like, okay, but that's 100 points. For three attacks wounding on 2s. I frankly don't care. I'd rather have the battle axe of the last war. Every time.
There's a Walloper's one-hit wonder.
Oh, it's one shot, but it's a hell of a shot.
Combat. Strength 10, AP -3, magical attack strikes first.
Yes.
Night Goblin or Night Goblin boss only.
So on your war boss, you'd have 4 attacks with it at strength 10. Not bad. Just Steam Tank comes into you, just go, no. Bonk it on the head and it goes over.
Yeah, they did seem very good, the magic weapons. Magic, no, because they took that one, and actually the
Vindictive Glare was okay, but then when you got to using the Foot of Gork, or possibly Mork, it was like it's just going to blow you up more than it's going to blow me up.
Especially because I had more than you. So
yeah.
It was that's certainly not what I would.
We'll need to look at the Gobbos and see if they can take something other than Wild Magic. Because if they can, I think if they can go for maybe like Battle Magic or something, you'd have a Gobbo yeeting fireballs at people. That might feel a bit better. Yeah. I've got a big question for you. The obvious question.
Yeah.
Fanatics. Question mark. I will give you my thoughts on them. And then you, as someone who received the Fanatics, utterly terrifying, absolutely brutal. The moment that I see Fanatics existing ever again in a game, I am going to automatically concede and just walk away. I cannot face that again. 6 Fanatics just ran out and just obliterated my front line.
They did.
Simon, you that all died to Fanatics.
No, because the other unit died to you being unlucky. With
Okay,
nature.
the majority of the casualties that you see died to Fanatics.
Yeah, but then the flip side is that against that big unit, and all 3 hit, 1 came back through. All right, I did get quite lucky with the second
4
round,
hits, yeah.
But there's still enough left in that unit to then rout my Gobbos. So
I think that is an indictment of your Gobbos led by a shaman. Yeah. It is an indictment of the Fanatics.
Yeah, I would agree there. Again, if you were playing Bretonian Knights or something more or less,
you would have obliterated them.
Yeah,
utterly.
You're gonna have a bad time. So you kind of wonder, do you want to release them at bigger units like that? I don't know. That needs play testing.
Upon reflection, would you release all 3 again, or would you spaff them out 1 or 2 at a time?
I guess if you do them all at once, there would have been a good charge to Terran. I get the problem they had that cannon there that was just going to start wailing on me. So
you had to commit.
Yeah, I had to commit, and I think possibly if I'd have plonked my unit there, and then just sent them in, would have been funny.
Would have been so funny. The Vortex and 3 Fanatics was like, whee!
I was playing down with that as just for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
I got lucky with the charges because I got 5 in.
Yeah.
And I got unlucky the second turn, so I think it balances out, and then you pick them up pretty quickly. So
I was only able to do that because I had
the wizard in there.
The wizard and the archers. So speaking of the archers, second, we off camera kind of poo-pooed the archers a little bit. But to be fair, any other missile choice that I have in the Empire, when I move them, it's -2 to hit.
Yeah.
So fishing for that, I wouldn't. as much as the archers are only strength 3, I would not have been able to clear the Fanatics without the archers. Any of the missile troop couldn't have done it.
Yeah.
So they're okay archers. I think they're good for anti-fanatic duties, essentially.
I think realistically, if you were going to do it, if you were going to say, build a unit around Night Goblins and Fanatics, you would want to have some 20-man bare bones units that they're just there to deliver. You want enough to soak up a little bit of missile fire that they're not going to turn tail and run.
Yeah.
And then you've got it in your opponent's mind that these guys could have Fanatics in, and then they release the Fanatics, and then you're not losing a 200-point unit with a shaman or whatever. You're losing an 80-point unit.
Because you could have your boss on a big squig with a good command range, and then a BSB nearby as well.
Yeah.
And suddenly, I don't need my bosses necessarily in the front lines. At risk of stuff. Rather, I've got these Fanatic buses moving forward. Dirt cheap. And their job is just to release Fanatics. Bearing that in mind, how extreme would you go on the cheap front? Would you go no shield, no spears? Because I'm pretty certain I'm not sure which weapon.
Tell the model.
No, I mean theory wise.
Theory
Would you just take them as bare bones as possible? I'm not sure what you pay for. You either pay for the spears or pay for the shields.
Night Goblin, thrusting spear, 1 point per model. So you.
So would you pay for spears?
I
goblins?
I probably would, because if you're just going, you know what, I'm going to sit there. I'm not going to charge you.
Yeah.
I'm going to release my squigs, release my Fanatics.
Yeah.
Let them do what they're going to do, and then I'm going to sit there and make you charge me.
Yeah.
And
because so would you go for 20s or would you go for more?
20s, I think.
Yeah.
I think 20, because 20 is going to be 80 points it's 155 points for the
combo.
And actually, if you go for 30, it's 120. I think you do a big unit of 40 with
Bossman,
the banner.
To be fair, we sort of been thinking about talking minimum size gobos and they didn't do much damage. I think they killed 2 or 3 Empire State troops across the line. But you always had more ranks than me.
Yeah,
always.
That didn't make any difference because the 2 ranks I had, you were killing. You only killed 2 more.
That's it. And the moment you lose leadership, because you're at best leadership 6, you're fleeing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you lose it by 1 or lose it by 1,000,000. The moment that you start losing, you're breaking.
Yeah. I mean, literally, you could put 2 or 3 units, 2 units maybe, a 20, put 3 Fanatics in, go, one's there, take your pick. And you may pick right, you may not. I think that's how I would do it. And then, of course, you've got your block, and actually, all of a sudden if you've got 3 units, maybe 2 are 20 and 1 big one which is fully loaded.
Yeah.
And 2 of the 3 have got Fanatics in. Gives,
You think that'd be quite... I think that'd be quite good.
I think it then puts that, right, where are those Fanatics?
Now, we've spoken a lot about the core here, but we both acknowledged that the Gobos didn't do much damage. The special...
Shit.
Yeah. F all.
Getting eBayed.
Well, I don't mean to alarm you, Simon, but your squig herds are a core choice, so you could just take those instead. I feel, and I've used goblins a few times now as well, I don't think that the goblins do much damage at all. No. And I think you almost want to take... There is an idea, obviously, of taking waves upon waves of night goblins.
I can imagine you'd be pleased with that idea.
I probably wouldn't bother now. I would think, I'm on the same line as you. I think you probably want about 100 of them at best. A few units, maybe 3 20-man units with Fanatics in, and then maybe a bigger block with your boss in, and that's as far as you go.
Yeah.
If you go that far, that's as far as you go. And then everything else, you spend the minimum you need to on your core, essentially, and then everything else you start going special. Here's the crazy thing. There's nothing, unless you are, and a lot of people are, to be fair, but unless you are dedicated to it being a Gobbo-themed army, there's nothing stopping you taking those 3 inches of Night Goblins at the front, and then having your big boss in a unit of Blackhawks.
Yeah.
And rather than having him in a bus of shite, you're having a bus of great.
Yeah.
And so you spend your, 500 points. No, is it 20? It's 25%. So you spend 500 points on the Fanatic stuff.
Yeah.
And then you go, right, I'm not spending any more than I need to on that. I'm going over to Bouncy Boys. I'm going over to Mangler Squigs. Trolls are great. I use trolls. In our game, it didn't work. But in another game that I had 4 trolls in a unit. They smashed everything. Because they get 3 attacks each, strength 5. And then they vomit on people. So it's like 4 attacks each.
Yeah.
So I think you still need like 100 gobos, which to a lot of people is just a mind-boggling amount. But for a horde army, is relatively little.
Yeah.
So I still think you're turning it with about 100 goblins. But after that, you're going for the damage dealers.
I think 80. I think I would take a big block of 40 with the characters, 2 blocks of 20.
With the Fanatics.
And 2 Fanatics out of the 3. So you'd have 6 Fanatics across the 2. So you'd have 3 in one, 3 in another.
Yeah.
But just don't, so you don't know where they are. And I think if you know there's one in every of them, people know they can play around it. If they know this, if you got that little bit of where are they not?
Yeah.
That kind of, that I think that would be an interesting.
The cool thing about Fanatics is they do take what is a unit that frankly can't do anything and turn it to a unit that is terrifying.
Yeah.
I do think if someone really leant into it and was like, I'm going to take 6 units of Night Goblins and have 18 Fanatics.
Yeah. I
think that would be carnage. I don't know what we'd deal with. I don't know how I'd deal with that. I don't know how I'd deal with that. So I think there's for a hybrid Gobbo army, and for even for a hybrid Orc and Goblin army, I think you want at least a couple of units of Fanatic blobs in there.
Yeah.
But I think the main damage is going to come from your special stuff.
Mm.
Now, we've spoken a lot about goblins. I think we should now talk about the Empire. The good and the bad and the ugly.
Yeah.
Good. In comparison to a goblin, my guys held the line.
Well, one did.
One of them did. One of them I got very unlucky on. But the other one, when you hit me, I held. When I hit you, you fled.
Yeah, Foxtrot Oscar.
Yeah. So I felt like the state troops, their stats are terrible.
Yeah.
But their leadership, led by leadership 9 rerollable with the captain and the BSB, that worked. Cannons, I really enjoyed them. I felt they did more on Grape Shot than anything else, though, to be fair. And I really quite liked the choppy foot general. Him having that 4 attacks, it was just consistently just like, I'm just going to cut down your character. I'm going to cut down 4 gobbos at a time. Yeah, he wasn't too expensive as well for a foot character. I think he was only about 150 points, Simon, for my boss, and he swung that entire combat on his own. I like the magic, the fact that Empire can go demonology, brilliant. The only thing that I found a bit lacking was my captain of the Empire. He's only got 2 attacks. It's a bit poo.
Yeah,
I do feel like he should have 3, but without it, I think your captain of the Empire. I think the number, moving on to like maybe some of the difficulties of the Empire, you are going to be running around scrabbling for anything that gives you an extra attack.
Yes.
Because without it, you're paying 45 points for a captain that does 2 attacks. Yeah. That's really not very good.
Yeah, that's very true.
I think just not. Yeah, I just not. I think what could be quite a cool idea is if you go for a captain with the duelist blades. And then, which gives him 4 attacks, and then you give him a potion of strength, and that way, even though it's only strength 4 base, you fucking chug your Gatorade down, get your potion, chug your Red Bull, and then you go blend him.
Yeah.
And it only works for 1 turn, but that's quite cheap. Oh no, duelist blades. I'm not sure you can get the duelist blades. I think they're 55 points, but you could do it with the general of the Empire.
Yeah.
You have a general of the Empire. Give him the duelist blades, give him the potion strength, and he just goes in there for 1 turn. Just goes, blends. I don't think it's mega blendy. I think it makes him have 5 attacks, but it's better than nothing. But yeah, the thing I've definitely found is I felt like your Night Gobbo, if your Night Gobbo had got into a fight with my general, you would have won.
Yeah, I think so. Possibly.
No doubt, man. I mean, like, I was on a 3-up save with full plate, but you minus that to a 5-up.
Yeah.
And then I've got a 5-up ward save.
Yeah.
And coming, and you have on average 8 attacks coming out of your guy, and I've only got 3 wounds.
Yeah.
And you would be receiving in return 4 attacks, hitting on like 4s, wounding you admittedly on 3s, but
yeah.
I don't think I have physically enough attacks to kill you in one go. I feel like you turn around and splat me in the face, which is a bit worrying that a general of the Empire can't go toe to toe with a gobbo.
Yeah. But then that is, he's still having. That's you said that sword's only 15 points cheaper, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. True.
The other thing I would say with what I feel like the Empire is going to become is amazing. No, what I feel the Empire is going to become, I feel like you're going to be more of a gunline army. If I'd advanced to meet you in the middle, I would have died. I need my cannons to keep shooting you for a little bit longer.
Yeah, but then you didn't have any cavalry in there, so you had 0 manoeuvrability. So
maybe some Empire Knights would change it up quite a lot.
I think, yeah.
If I'd had 10 Knights.
I mean, I think.
But then why don't I just get Batonia then?
Well, because you don't get cannons.
I do if I'm in exile.
I don't think you need. I think you need some. I mean, I think we said earlier, when we were playing the game, that flanking with the cavalry, that's.
Yeah, you definitely outmaneuvered me in that front.
Yeah.
Squig Riders seem really good when they're bullying archers.
Yeah, and I mean, I didn't get very lucky with the rolls, to be fair, but it could have been with some different rolls that instead of turn 3, was it turn 3 I killed the archers?
Yeah.
If it had got into them in turn 2, then all of a sudden you've got a unit of squigs on your left flank. You've got.
These are, sorry to interrupt, these are so frustrating to deal with as an Empire player because of the random movement. Yeah. Because I can't stand and shoot them. My typical, that completely screws me over in a number of ways.
Right, I think we have.
No, we have. It says in the book you have to hold. You don't have a choice. Yeah. So your charge reaction is hold, not stand and shoot. Yeah. And it's not a charge. You don't declare a charge. You just bimble fuck into combat. Yeah. So the reason these are so good is when I first deployed my archers on that flank, I thought, I'll shoot you twice, and then I'll stand and shoot you. Yeah. And you'll just be, because you've 1 bloody wound, I'll just kill you. And then what happened is I had to start moving backwards, which started screwing over my my ability to hit you. Could you imagine if that was like a unit of handgunners that I'd had to try and take those guys on? Yeah. I would have been hitting you on, I wouldn't be able to hit you. Yeah. So yeah, they screw over my detachment rule because I can't do a charge reaction with my detachments to stand and shoot and stuff. This is something, by the way, this is not something you've experienced yet, but Empire can take a block of state troops and then you can take 2 smaller units. Yeah. These can be the Free Company or archers or handgunners or crossbowmen or other state troops. And when someone charges the parent block, the big unit, the units on the side can support. Yeah. And so you can, if you, for example, had these gobbos come charging in, and I've got a unit of handgunners on the side, they get to shoot before you charge in.
What, both units?
Yeah, if I have 2 of them. But you can just target the detachments. They're only 5-10 man little units. Yeah. So you could just yeet a fanatic into them and just get rid of them. But yeah, so I think detachments, looking back on this, we've obviously spoken what's quite negative about the Empire. I'm still working out how to make this faction work. And in my mind, there are a few ways that you make Empire start really singing. Firstly, just artillery. Yeah. The more you cram into the list, the better, frankly. Yeah. Secondly, I think that having troops that do a bit of damage, I quite like the idea of great swords. They've got a 4+ save base and a great weapon.
You need something killy in the centre or somewhere in the infantry, and you need a little bit more manoeuvrability, I think.
I think you need maybe a couple of units of knights. Don't need to be big units. A couple of units of knights, three artillery pieces, big block of great swords. Because don't worry about striking last, because you're getting charged anyway, because you're infantry. Someone's going to charge you first. Yeah. And then you go, I think you go some handgunners and stuff.
Yeah.
And so the enemy's coming at you and you're just like, first rank fire, second rank fire. And then when they get close, they're like, oh, well, I'm going to charge you, get shot again, and then hit in the face by greatswords.
Yeah, I still think you need something just... Cause if that giant mangler squig hadn't died, if it had got into combat and had got, you know, the other squigs, I mean, because I thought I'd get one of them in two turns. I was quite unlucky to get neither in within 2 turns.
Yeah.
Then, but if you know, if I'd have got them both in 2 turns, then I think it would have been all she wrote, because they'd have just squashed you in the middle. So I do think that if someone has got better cavalry than me and was coming up and we were to do this with, I don't know, Bretonians or something like that.
I think that's a completely different game, because I'm coming at you. But do you know what happens when I come at you? You release Fanatics and all my guys die.
Yeah. But I still... Yeah, I still think you need something to you know, if someone's got cavalry on your flanks, you need to have a way of dealing with them.
We've had 2 games where that's happened, and the cavalry has been quite impactful.
Yeah. Or potentially.
Potentially, yeah.
But yeah, I mean that I think that, you know, not massive, but I do think you just need some bit of manoeuvrability, because I don't think, you know.
Is that sort of your impression from the game of the Empire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you're playing dwarves and they were gun lining at you.
If I was playing dwarves, what would have happened is I would have taken an entire army of thunderers which come with shields and heavy armor. So I'm on a 4-up save.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you're playing
and what happens
against dwarves.
Yeah, what I'm saying, and what happens in this game is you march up to me, you charge my dwarves, I go, oh, that's all right, fall back and shoot you in the face. Yeah. Dwarves are going to be oppressive. They're going to be really good.
Smart enough to vote on.
Simon played, for those of you that don't know, Simon played Votan at a tournament this weekend, and his Necrons went back to sleep after 2 turns.
Yes.
It was pretty brutal. But on that note, talk about 40k. Clearly we've run out of things to talk about now.
But yeah, I going back, I think you need, for me, if I'd have got a little bit better on those rolls and I'd have rolled your flanks, I think it's a different game. So I do.
But that was the point. That's the whole beauty of random movement.
It is, but if I was playing something that wasn't random movement, you know, if I was playing...
Then you wouldn't be playing Goblins. Oh, I keep interrupting you. I know what you're saying. If you're playing something a bit more reliable, that game would have been very different.
If we'd have gone down that same route, yes. I mean, if, I don't know, Boar Boys maybe.
Just Goblin Wolf Riders.
Yeah, so, you know, I mean, let's be honest, if I had 2 units of 5 Gobbo Wolf Riders coming down this flank, am I going to get to that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
Well, no. You wouldn't get to the cannon. Do you know why?
Why?
Because the cannon's going to stand and shoot you. That's going to grave. I can't stand and shoot the Mangler Squig. I can't stand and shoot the Squig Hoppers.
Yeah, that's true.
You just
is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, you have to hold. So you're boing into combat and just go blah 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 and just eat me. Yeah, it's really powerful.
That's why I think cannons are bloody. Yeah.
Random movement is horrendous to face off against as a shooty army.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
There we go. I'll remember that for next time.
Yeah, well, hopefully, I'm not sure what we'll do next. We'll either do our first 2,000 point game, or we'll stick to 1250, but we'll bring something different. Yeah, that's how we'll do it. Yeah. But Simon, I just want to say thank you for obviously staying a little bit after the battle report and doing some of the final thoughts, mate. Do appreciate it. And I think it's great to have the insights from 2 players, because obviously you felt like the cannons were terrifying, and I didn't really appreciate how not necessarily like much they killed, but how impactful they'd been on your like plans and your stuff in game.
They're like Fanatics. It's, you know, I mean, your cannons probably killed more in points than my Fanatics did. Easily.
I don't know.
Well, maybe.
Victory points, yes. Actual points, no. Because your Fanatics picked up like 18 dudes in 1 turn.
Yeah. So, I think it just, that gives you that great shot.
Great shot.
Great. Stop it. You've been quite well behaved today with these crap jokes.
Oh, should I start singing now? La, 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 la. Oh, I'll stop.
No,
I've already thrown you off.
Yeah. Anyway, that crap that you throw out makes a massive difference to how you go about it. So, yeah.
I'm just really, I have to say, my final thought is whether I've been on the receiving end of goblins, or I've used goblins, or I've seen someone else use goblins, in all 3 different scenarios that I've engaged with goblins, they've been so much fun. They are an immensely flavourful and immensely fun faction. And each time that I've seen them on the battlefield, they've played completely differently. And whilst the Empire feels, I do love playing the Empire, and they feel very stoic and everything, I'm really excited to be working on my own goblins soon, for sure. But that's all for now. I just want to say, I hope you guys who are watching this enjoyed our sort of deep thoughts, thinkouts on the... I hope you enjoyed this after action report. I appreciate it was probably a little bit, sort of rambling and everything, but we're sort of showing you our stream of consciousness and our genuine impressions and thoughts on this. I'm sure much of it will change over the fullness of time, but for now, I think the big takeaway is that Old World is a ton of fun, and even after just a couple of games, Sam and I already got just so much to talk about in terms of how does this work, counterplay, building lists and everything. And I'm hoping that there'll be lots of content for us to create around this, and lots of stuff for you to sink your teeth into, sink your ears into, and enjoy. But that's all for now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.